Rise, grind, shine, peace and blessings. It's a new day, and you're now listening to Curtis Rice at Born Royal 86. I'm a work in progress. Just because you see a quote don't mean that you won't get cussed out. I'm just being all the way honest with you. In other words, never underestimate the power of positivity. Stop taking people's kindness for weakness. You never know what people are going through. I'm at a point in my life where I'm not allowing past people, situations to interfere with my present. We might know mutual people, associates, whatever you want to call it. That don't mean we cool. We don't have to speak. None of that. Just go your way, mind your business, live your life. It's not worth holding on to a lot of old, built up animosity towards anybody. That's what growth is all about. Like if I'm aiming to grow and get in a better position in life and make the most progress possible, it becomes more challenging if I'm holding on to a lot of old stuff, if I'm not letting go. So I'm at a point now where letting go is more important than anything else. There's things that I no longer want to hold on to. Understand this. Don't flatter yourself to think that I care about what you got going on, because I don't. I'm not inquiring about you. You don't even have to waste your brain power to think that I care about what you got going on. This is life, one time only. This is an exclusive journey. To go through it, worrying about what somebody else is thinking about you, stressed and depressed about what the next person is doing and keeping up with the next person. You might have entered a person's life at a certain point in time. You might have met a person in passing, whatever the case may be. You might still be around. You might still be cool with this person. If certain relationships have ran their course, I'm not going to force it. Life is here today, gone tomorrow. So wasting time going on and on about what the next person is doing just to turn around and say something completely different in their face, it's a waste of time for me. That's just where I'm at. The whole purpose of transitioning into a better state of growth is to let go and stop doing things that's not progressive. I'm focused on me and mine. I only want to be around thriving individuals who want more out of life, who are action oriented towards accomplishing their goals, and not just saying these quotes that sound good just to turn around and get offline and be the complete opposite. That's the main thing. Letting go. You know, what's done is done. Keep it moving. If it's nothing that's been too serious, some things you can get past. But one thing for certain is holding on to certain things is draining. It's extremely draining. And there's no growth in that. Now, some things that I'll never forget, but it doesn't mean I'm going to let it affect me where I'm at right now in this present moment. And it's definitely not something that I'm willing to take into my future to allow me to take 10 steps back, to revisit old ways, old traumas, old past doings, old habits, things like that. It's not even worth it. Still reading, still writing, so many ideas as usual. However, focus on implementing. That's the main thing. 50 years of hip hop, that's major. Well, my earlier introduction to hip hop just came in so many different artists. I remember my uncle would always have a bunch of these tapes. He had Run DMC. One of his favorite groups was Ghetto Boys. He was telling me about Tech Nine way before I knew who Tech Nine was. But that's when I was watching The Box. That's an important point in hip hop too. That's back when you would call this number. When you see them 3 digits pop up, you know what video is getting ready to come up next. Snoop, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Twister, Do or Die, 3 6 Mafia, Lil Kim, Junior Mafia, Notorious Big, Tupac, list goes on. But as far as hip hop goes, there's so many different game changers, so many pioneers. The LL Cool J's, Nas, Outkast, Goody Mob, Dungeon Family, A-Ball, MJG, Ghetto Boys, UGK, the Jay-Z's and the Yo Gotti's and Salt and Pepper, Queen Latifah, Hypnotized Minds, No Limit, Cash Money. Like hip hop is major. Came a long way. Of course, Wu-Tang, Da Brat, Trina, Foxy Brown, the NWAs, DOC, Ice Cube, Big Pun, KRS-One, Fugees. You got Cool Mo D, Heavy D, of course, Biz Marquee. You got Luke, 2 Live Crew, DMX, rest in peace DMX. None of these are in particular order, nothing like that. Like, I'm not going crazy with no list or anything like that. Like, my main thing is you contributed to hip hop. Respect, shout out to you. Hip hop is something that can continue growing. It's not something that's possessive. It's not something that you can control wholeheartedly. Contribute to it and keep it growing, keep it alive and thriving. Don't give it up and just leave it in the hands of anybody. I mean, the hip hop history is legendary and it's still growing. Now, going into today, who I listen to today, now to be honest with you, I still listen to Bone Thugs and Harmony. I still listen to LL Cool J. Straight up, I'm Bad. That's one of my favorite songs. But today, Don Tripp. I want to say Don Tripp got 8 projects out this year alone, and all of them on point. Killer Leon, another one of my favorite rappers. Lorraine Motel, solid. Mike Jordan, that one is solid. And his subject matter too. Like, it's not just one-sided in terms of being trendy and just talking about what everybody else is talking about. When a person is transparent about not only their lifestyles, but going against the norm in terms of your lens and what you represent, is showing that artists can evolve. Starlito, Denzel Curry is dope too. Of course, the obvious artist that's delivering, that's a given. It's like you gotta acknowledge the ones that's delivering in magnitudes of message, not just to be saying whatever and just putting words together, but I'm really talking about taking it there. If it's somebody that's consistent, someone that's really putting out some solid music that I haven't mentioned, then why don't you mention them? Just spark the conversation. Name who you think is consistent and who you think is putting out great music. I'm only focused on what I like. Nothing mediocre, nothing average, nothing okay. It's one thing to just play something and listen to something just for that moment, but a lot of times when you want to deep dive into something that's not all violent and not all talking about one thing and one thing only, like, everybody ain't out doing the same thing. When you can hear an artist elaborate on subjects that doesn't come off the exact same way that it always comes off. It's not giving you them average hot like fire bars or wet like water and all that simplified the simple talk, like putting it together in ways that really make you think. Each one of these moments are important in his lifetime as far as story, when it comes to culture and when it comes to hip hop in general. Like, hip hop 50 years, that's a great thing. Certain conversations go on and on when it comes to different genres, when it comes to rock, when it comes to blues, when it comes to R&B. And those might have their own opinions about how they feel about the state of each one of these genres. But in order for hip hop to really grow and not be so one-sided and not be so stuck in one box, if you feel like there's something missing in hip hop, why don't you deliver it? Instead of doing this, commentating from the sidelines, don't put no numbers on the board. You have people who never wrote a line complaining about people who not on the list that they don't even acknowledge or even bring up when someone says, who's your favorite? That's your time to shine. That's your moment to be vocal. Me personally, I'm not getting offended over a list. It's not up to any of us to be blessed with the opportunity to wake up in the morning and see a new day. So when it comes to contribution, it weighs way more than the list. Now, you feel like you're not being acknowledged in a certain type of way, step it up, deliver it on so many different levels, but you can't expect anyone to lift you up if you're not even pushing yourself. So getting caught up in these lists and who's from where and whatever the case is, it's like, man, come on, step up, speak up. It still ain't gonna change history or move the needle, because you can't change what's happening in this 50 years. Now, 50 years going forward, let's see how it goes. 50 years going forward. If there are artists that are ready for 50 more years to strengthen it, for it to evolve 50 more years, that's a whole different conversation. We can always get into this back in my day music, or this was hip hop to me and this is hip hop, this is not. And it's like, nah, there's a bigger conversation in that than just blaming it on the youngins and saying these people too old. But when it's all said and done, it's like, let's not get this far to get divided. I don't want to hear Melly Mel versus Eminem. It was unnecessary. I can't even get that time back. People gonna contribute however they contribute. There's a lot of different artists that I think are amazing, and they make their contributions. Now the ones that you feel like may or may have not made their contributions, it's subjective. When it's all said and done, if you can name them and someone at least knows one song from them, they made a contribution, whether you like it or not, whether it was one hit, whatever it was, still made a contribution. And that's what led to 50 years. Happy birthday, hip hop. 50 years strong. Let's keep it going. 50 more years. This week, kids went back to school. Took my youngest to class. Teacher looked in his backpack. She said, "Oh, this is for me." Took the typing paper, put it over to the side. Now, listen, let me be the first to say, you don't have to send home no extra papers. Like, it's enough. I get the 30 text messages. I get the 20 emails. And I get the 50 phone calls. You don't have to print nothing and send it back. And stop sending these art projects with these squiggly lines in the right corner. I'm sick of it. All right? Now, for the parents that went to war over these school supplies, I speak for most of us when I say we want to see some Picassos or something. So these little squiggly lines that you sending home, teachers, please, let's stop this. Let's stop. I can't hang everything up on the fridge. I don't have no more room. I don't have enough magnets for all these lines everywhere. On a more positive note, I pray that these kids have a great school year. I pray that these kids are covered in ways of protection, in ways that they can get through their school year, stay focused, and not be distracted by any of the dramas of the world or anything else like that. Pray for the kids, pray for the staff, pray for the people that's in position at the schools to watch over the kids, the ones that's really doing their job. That's really important. A lot of these laws are changing in terms of how things are going at school. So I'm praying that these kids have a great school year, be kids for as long as they can be kids and have fun. You never know what people are going through. So be mindful of the things that you're saying and the things that you're doing. You can really change somebody's perspective. You can really lift somebody's day by being kind, by smiling, speaking to a person. You know, walking around scrunched up all the time. It's like if you're going through something, check yourself first, because you never know. You can either ignite someone else's attitude or you can light somebody else up in a way where they really feel like being a joy in this world. Don't steal nobody's joy. If you see somebody happy, let that happiness be contagious. For you to smile, pay it forward. Be a person that uplifts the next person. And if that's not you, that's just not you, but stay focused. Keep leveling up. Respect, shout out to anybody that might be going through something and they mustering up the strength to keep going no matter what. They keep pushing. They finding something that's allowing them to keep going and stay strong. Respect, shout out to you. The ones that just started, the ones that started their first episode, the ones that recorded their first song, the ones who wrote their first book, wrote the first page to your first book, whatever that might be. You might have had your first workout today. Congratulations. Celebrate them wins. And always remember, greatness is ageless.